to 7:15 was sort of mingle time, but we're going to start just a little bit early because I think the bulk of the people who are likely to be here tonight are here, or they're going to be arriving really late. So we're going to go ahead and get started if that's all right with you. So the first thing that we're going to do is have Richard come up and do an official note.
This is exactly for you because you're here and you care about the planet. And having a breathable planet, having water and clean air to live in the future, and we can make that happen. I am co-chair, Richard Halpin, co-chair of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Boston Green Sanctuary Committee. We are delighted to welcome you all here tonight, and our Green Sanctuary Committee has for years been working on climate change. We've been trying to figure out how we at First Unitarian Universalists can be smarter about how we work on climate change, and as part of that process, we've been looking for allies. And we think we have found an ally with 350.org. We think not only are they a global ally for a smart and healthy planet, but they are a local, dynamic, intelligent ally for a smart and energy fossil fuel free Boston energy. So we want to welcome you to here tonight for this first meeting of our partnership with 350 Austin. A couple of housekeeping things. Bathrooms. Bathrooms are simply down the hall and on your right. There's a men's bathroom down there. Water fountain. There's our water fountain right down here on the left, midway down the hall. Let's see. Anybody have problems tonight coming with parking or directions or anything, so we can learn from that next time to do better? 100% success.
Very able traffic cops.
See, that's a harbinger for the success we're going to have for fossil-free fuels in the future.
All right.
What else can I tell you? I don't think I need to belabor the point that together we can make the world a cleaner, better place. And together we can make Austin Energy 100%. Together we can make Austin Energy 100% fossil-free fuels by 2030 or sooner. Sooner, right on. So, speaking of sooner, I'd like to get Bobby to come back up here and take over the meeting for the 350 Austin.org part of the meeting tonight.
All right.
Unless there's any questions. Any questions? No? Okay, Bobby, come on back up and
Okay.
take over.
So I see a few new faces. I am Bobby Sukahara. I'm one of the co-founders of the 350 Austin. So that's who I am. Just call me Bobby. I'm going to take a few minutes to go over the agenda so you'll know what to expect tonight. Before I do that, because I may forget when I get caught up in the agenda itself, we've got Pat and Dale Bulla back there at that table, and they are honking shirts. There's also fossil-free pledge information if you want to encourage a politician to sign the fossil-free pledge, meaning they will not take money from the fossil fuel industry for their campaigns. We're going to actually have a little bit more information on the fossil-free pledge in a little while. But the picking up the pledge sheets and the instruction sheet are back there at that table. And we've also got bumper stickers for sale back there. So in terms of the t-shirts, they are $15 a piece. That basically covers our expenses at $350. If, however, you simply cannot manage a $15 shirt, and I know that there are people on tight budgets, that's fine. We do not want you to be without a shirt. You either pay what you can, or you just let us know that it's not manageable for you. We want you to have a shirt. That's much more important than the $15. So just let us know if you would like a shirt, but it's not manageable for you financially. I think that's it on the table. Sign in. Did everybody sign in? Everybody's all official. Everybody signed in. Okay. And you wrote your email really neatly, didn't you? If you're new on the list, it's really important that you enter it neatly because you know how computers are. They're really picky. So, yeah. So if you will just be sure to do that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing tonight, I'm going to go over some announcements in just a few minutes. While I'm doing announcements, and in fact, we can start some of this now, it's instead of hats, we pass these old Folgers coffee cans. So if you will be generous in your giving, cash or checks. If you want to donate by credit card, you do that through our website, or at the end of virtually any email that goes out, there's a link to the donations. So you can always donate through Active. All right, welcome guys, come on in. So the money is mounting up in our little jars. Here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to start the meeting after I do the announcements with a special recognition, and Gil will be doing that, and he'll explain that. We've got a very special member that we want to honor and recognize. We'll be doing that in a few minutes. Then Dana Wynn, where's Dana hiding? There's Dana. Dana's going to come up and just do some rapid fire update of some very exciting events that have been going on, kind of behind the scenes, some things that you wouldn't necessarily know about. And Dana's going to be bringing everybody up to speed on that. And Bill and I might pop up every now and then if we need to add a detail or two. But basically, Dana's going to be doing that for us. Dana, by the way, is also the new vice president for 350 Austin, so I could not do anything without this woman. I don't know what I'm going to do when you leave town tomorrow. Okay. So after Dana does her update, I'm going to do a very brief update on the nonviolent direct action training that is currently going on. That will happen. Then at around 8-ish, we're going to go into breakout groups. And so we're going to have 4 different breakout groups. Conti just pedaled in. Oh, there you are over there. Conti's going to be leading a breakout session on power in Austin. So in other words, how do you figure out how to negotiate? What levers we're going to be trying to push? And Conti's going to be explaining that in one breakout group. And I don't know if Stephen is going to be here tonight. There's going to be, if Stephen Ray is not here, one of us will cover a group. We're going to be drafting questions for the Electric Utility Commission. Were you pointing at?
Karen's here yet.
Oh, hi, Karen. Okay. So anyway, yeah, Stephen, who actually sits on the same commission that Karen sits on, was going to be talking a little bit about formulating some questions that we want the EUC to ask Austin Energy. And so if he is not here for that, one of the others of us will cover that breakout group. Then Gil is going to be talking a little bit about nonviolent direct action, what it is and what it is not, because that's a major focus of our campaign strategies is using nonviolent direct action. So it's going to be important as people come in to the organization that they have a better understanding of what that actually means. So if you're curious about that, want to know more, if you haven't been through the training and you're thinking you might want to do the training, then you might want to join that group with Gil. Then the final breakout session I will be leading, and with that one, it is for anyone who really wants to know what's going on with 350 Austin. They need to join the Slack team. I don't know about you, but I hate email. How many of you like the amount of email you're getting now? You're real happy with the amount of email you're getting. Now, I know you don't like to use anything but email. That's okay. Because Barbara's going to keep you hooked in. But anyway, we do use a communications app called Slack. All of our significant communication goes through Slack, all kinds of organizing information, all of that sort of thing. So if you want to be in the know, you really want to be on Slack. And so I will work with people in a small breakout session for people who need a little extra help in getting going on that tutorial. And that's it. So there's the 4 breakout sessions. Those will be starting around 8-ish. So, Gil, announcements. See, I knew I'd forget something. I blame it on, this up here. Okay, here are upcoming events. The Electric Utility Commission, their meeting is Monday, May 21st. They meet at 6 o'clock at 721 Barton Springs. That's the Austin Energy Building on Barton Springs, 721. Now, why do you care about when the EUC is meeting? The Electric Utility Commission advises City Council on things related to electric energy, i.e. Austin Energy. Okay. So we, beginning last month, are showing up at the EUC meetings just to give them moral support, let them know that we are supporting them, and when necessary, pushing them, encouraging them to maybe push City Council in terms of energy. So that's why that meeting is relevant, and in the breakout session, we're going to be talking in more detail about why that matters and what you would possibly do if you went to those meetings. We're not there to yell and scream and carry protest signs and that sort of thing. We're there to listen and learn and also to educate them so that there's communication back and forth. Okay, at this juncture. Lynn.
So is that breakout session the one that's going to be developing questions?
Questions,
Okay.
yes. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Lynn. Tuesday of next week, Solar Austin meets down at Schultz Garden. That's Tuesday the 22nd. 5:30 if you want to get there for happy hour. The meeting itself starts around 6:15, and that's at Schultz Garden. The Austin Energy Oversight Committee, otherwise known as City Council, they meet Wednesday, May 23rd at 1:30 at City Hall. Usually in the boards and commissions room, I think is where they normally meet. So that's at 1:30 for people who can get away during the day. Again, an opportunity for learning and communicating. The Joint Sustainable Commission meets on Wednesday night, May 23rd at 6 p.m., also at City Hall. So you can just go spend your day at City Hall next Wednesday. And I recommend that you don't want to drive to City Hall for a 6 o'clock meeting. And I think those are the most important things. Our next monthly meeting is June 19th, so it's always going to be on the 3rd Tuesday, as long as this lovely church puts up with us. Okay, so we want to treat them nicely. By the way, in terms of those cans that are going around, a portion of the money that we collect is going to be donated back to the church. So think about the church supporting the church as well as 350 when we can always pass those cans back around if anybody missed the first time. Okay, so any questions about those announcements? Now, any announcements from the floor? Anything that's going on that you think this group should know about? Richard?
We had a few people come in after announcements. Bathrooms are right down the hall on the right, and there's the water fountain right down the hall on the right.
Important information. Any announcements? No one has announcements from the floor. Okay. Oh, Karen, yes ma'am.
Hi, well, in addition to the EUC, and by the way, your comments and questions and pressure are most welcome, most invited in terms of that. But what I thought I would announce is that meantime, one of the things I'm working on together with a lot of other folks is trying to keep radioactive waste from being dumped on Texas and New Mexico. There's 2 proposed sites. They're moving again. WCS is starting to move again. New Mexico is definitely in motion. We've been having some NRC meetings there. And there's a way on this website to send in comments. So if you just want to take a sticker, that's a place to send in comments to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Thanks.
Right. Thank
Or
you.
do you have a sign-up sheet for people?
Yeah, if you want to know more, we're happy to.
Yeah, just pass it around, Karen. Feel free to pass that around.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Any other announcements from the floor? Okay. Gil, you want to come up and do our special recognition?
Sure.
We thought we
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, do that if I kind of fade, okay? Thanks. Yeah, 2 or 3 months ago, we had a 350 affiliated group wrote a pledge called a fossil-free pledge that they put out basically to the public, to a lot of 350 affiliates. 350 Austin picked it up. The basic idea behind that is to take this pledge to candidates running for office and get them to agree not to take money from the fossil fuel industry or any of their PACs or the API, anything like that, to just basically not accept funding from the fossil fuel industry. So a lot of our group here has been involved with that. I think I may have gotten 4, maybe 5 candidates to sign it, and a lot of other people have had more success than I have. But there's one person I really wanted to mention tonight. Mickey, would you mind coming up here, please? Sure. Last week, when I last saw Mickey, he delivered to us a whole stack, literally about like this, of signed pledges. What was it, about 52 in there?
52, and there was also one more. Rebecca Belmero just signed it last Friday.
And we haven't gotten to election day yet. So what I wanted to point out was Mr. Fatani here obviously he's not shy. And he's been going up to all these candidates and telling them what he's up to and seeing if he can get them to sign. And if he doesn't get them the first time, he gets them the second time. He doesn't get them the second time, he gets them the third time. He just keeps going. And so he's our energizer bunny. So I really wanted to recognize Mickey for the hard and very successful work he's done. And in appreciation for that, Mickey, I want to give you a little special thing.
You have to open it. You have to open it.
Yeah.
Is it a lump of coal, maybe?
Yeah.
We're going to send it to Fayette.
Oh, it's nice. It's a fossil-free
Oh, that's
fuel T-shirt. The advertising for fossil fuel-free.
That's right.
Austin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You really
They can't possibly say no to the campaign.
Thanks again, Nick.
Are you all
Okay. You want to introduce Dan?
Yeah. Dana, come on up. Thank you. I think everybody knows Dana Wynn. Dana's been doing a lot of hard work with us also in a little bit of a different area. She's one of the key people on our campaign strategy circle, which is helping to define the strategy for the campaign Bobby was talking about earlier, about going fossil-free faster with Austin Energy. And Dana, I think you have a few updates of some recent things that have happened.
Yeah.
That we'd all be interested in.
Sure. Sounds good. Can everyone hear me? In
Yes,
the back?
thank you.
All right, let me know if that changes. So as Gil said, we've been up to a few things in the last couple of weeks. These are not specifically related to the fossil-free Austin Energy campaign. They're related to a different campaign, and that's our divestment campaign. So specifically getting the city of Austin institutional divestment, getting cities, counties, universities, big public institutions to divest from their fossil fuel investments. We've been mainly focusing on the city of Austin with our local efforts here. And so I want to talk about a couple of events that just happened. One is in the local scale and one is a national event that happened just last Friday. So to start with the local event, there was, on May 2nd, there was a breakfast with the mayor and a few other people on climate change, and we had a presence at that breakfast. It was hosted by an organization called the Metropolitan Breakfast Club, and they invite speakers every week to come and talk on different topics. And this particular meeting was about climate change in Austin, specifically the effects on the water supply here. And we thought, well, the mayor's coming, and some other kind of prominent people are coming, so maybe we should go and have a presence and see if we can ask the mayor some questions about climate change and what he thinks. So we showed up there. There was about 8 of us who came, and our goal was to publicly ask the mayor about his thoughts specifically regarding divestment. So maybe what we had a couple questions. First was, what was he thinking currently? What are his current plans, thoughts, ideas regarding divesting the city's pension funds? So this is all the city employees. They have a pension fund that is invested in specific companies and stocks, and we would like them to divest from their fossil fuel commitments. That was our first question to the mayor. And then secondly, the mayor is also a trustee of the Austin Fire Department pension fund. And so we wanted to focus in on that and see what he had done as a trustee to divest those funds. So unfortunately, there was not a lot of time for public questions. So we didn't get to ask our question in front of the whole crowd, but I was able to go up afterwards with another one of our members, Ellie Fogelman, and we introduced ourselves to the mayor, and we were able to ask him our questions. And the response that we got was that he didn't share any specific plans, but he said that he's open to talking more about it, and he's interested. And also, I kind of targeted in a little bit on the fire department funds, and he said that, which I'm not sure if this is correct, but he said that there's a very small amount of their investments in fossil fuel companies, which I don't know the numbers exactly, but I don't think that's really true. And he hadn't really come up with any specific ideas on how to divest those funds. So I think we did achieve our goal, and that our aim was to kind of have a friendly, just ask the mayor a couple friendly questions and let him know that we're here and we're thinking about this issue. This is important to us, especially going into like election season. And we want to support him and the city council as they start to think more about divestment and kind of start to move in that direction. So that's kind of what happened in the local scope of things. I guess before I move on to the big national event that happened, is there any questions, or Bobby or Gil? Yes?
Do we know the makeup of Austin's investments? Is it commingled funds and hedge funds, or is it just stocks in this and that and Exxon?
I don't know the details of that. I believe there's a couple of our other members who are more well-versed in that.
I could probably answer it in a more general way for you, Lucas. There's pension funds, and then there's the city of Austin's bank accounts. So there was, a big conversation in Austin back last year around people wanting Austin to divest their bank accounts. And a lot of that came out of Seattle, and people, due to Standing Rock, people wanting to get bank people to pay attention to where are the city's funds. And so the city did hear that, and there are not a lot of options for any city in terms of where they are going to do their banking. So that is one side of the quote divestment. It's really more like bank boycotting, but that's one side of the issue. In terms of investments, we're primarily looking at the pension funds. And so getting access to where those monies are invested is not easy. It's not like they're publishing it somewhere. We have been very fortunate with COERS, the City of Austin Employees Retirement System, thank you. They have been very welcoming of our interests and have helped and have provided us with the information we need. We are just now shifting our focus to the police and the firemen. Kathy Tovo sits on the board, board of trustees for the police. Mayor Adler sits on the board of trustees for the firemen, and Leslie Poole sits on the trustees for board of trustees for the City of Austin Employees Retirement System, COERS. So I can't give you a specific answer to that question, but it's going to be mixed. It's going to be mixed funds.
Is any of that information available?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit
We
on
can get some of
COERS, because we've been working on COERS for over a year.
Could you stand up so we hear you?
Sure. With regard to COERS, there's a lot of individual stocks, huge amount of individual stocks. There's also funds, NPLs, all kinds of other investment vehicles. Their NPLs are going away. This is something that I do want to mention here. As a result of our work in the past year, COERS decided their board of trustees voted to divest all their NPLs, which is about 40% of the fossil fuel investments. They're getting rid of all of those.
What are NPLs?
Master partner, MLPs, master limited partnerships.
Oh,
It's
MLP.
basically a way that when Exxon or whoever goes into an oil field and develops it, they then sell these shares in an MLP to get their money back. And then those MLP shares can be traded also on the market. So they're divesting that, which amounts to somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 billion. It's not a huge amount. So anyway, it's a little bit of everything, like you were saying. It's
Yeah.
a mix. We don't know on firearms and police yet. We haven't gotten
Yes.
Who else was at the meeting? Were there any unfriendlies or adversarial types?
Not that I could identify. It was interesting though during the actual program. So it was a panel discussion with the mayor and I believe the director of Austin Water, a climate scientist, and another official who's working on kind of the 100-year water plan for Austin.
It was Kathy it was Cahoe
Yeah.
that was there.
So they kind of danced around the issue of climate change and what was causing the climate change. I mean, they mentioned, yes, temperatures are getting warmer, we need to prepare, we need to be active about this, but there was not really any addressing of, the fact that human activities are causing these changes, and it was all very kind of dancing around that. That was my impression of it anyway. Yes.
Could we share the board of directors of these three pension plans? Do you have that available?
I do not personally, but it must be, Gil, it must
Yeah,
be
it's on the website.
It's on the
You
website?
can go to their pension plans, they list who the trustees are.
Yeah, we know
Can't
that.
get their email addresses, but you can.
I mean, a lot of them are, city council members, as you said, the mayor sits on the firemen's pension fund, so, these are people in the public eye.
Right.
But sorry, did you have a question?
You mentioned three people on the city council and the commissions that they're on. Could you repeat those again? You mentioned Total Adler and another one.
Oh, I think that was Bobby.
Yeah, they are, each of them sit on the board of trustees of one of the employee pension funds. So Adler is on the police pension fund, or fireman. Tovo is on police, and Poole is on COERS, City of Austin Employees Retirement System.
Any other questions, comments before we move on to national event? Okay, so just last Friday in New York, the mayor of New York, as many of you have heard, may have heard, Bill Blasio was kind of spearheading this effort to divest the city of New York's pension funds from fossil fuels. This is a big thing that happened in January, and they've really been kind of a leader in this area. And so to kind of help other cities follow their lead, Mayor de Blasio was holding a webinar, inviting people from cities, officials from cities all around the country to join him and kind of learn from what New York has done and maybe develop a plan for their own city on how to divest their own pension funds. And so we kind of had this big behind the scenes effort to get Mayor Adler and his people to attend the webinar. And I don't actually know if they ended up attending or not, maybe.
Adler never showed up on the acceptance list, the RSVP list. There could be someone from his staff who RSVP'd that we would not necessarily recognize the name, but I did not see any of the names from Adler's staff that we had given to the city of New York. 350.org was the conduit for all of these various cities. And so the mayor's office had contacted 350.org asking us to help them get the contact information for key people who should be there. And I don't know if you mentioned this, so I'll slip it in real fast. One of the things that Mayor de Blasio has offered to do for any significant office holder that might need a little assistance in thinking in the right direction, that he was going to make direct one-on-one phone calls. So we have asked him to please call Mayor Adler directly. And we gave him a very closely guarded cell phone number where he could be, Adler himself could not be reached, but someone who can get him on the phone can be reached. And as you probably know, Adler talks a really good talk when it comes to climate change. He's up for election, and we need to hold his feet to the fire to make his, his acts match his words. So we are counting on de Blasio to pick up that phone.
Right. So this is kind of the beginning of, I think, as we get into, especially as we get into election season.
Yes.
It's kind of the beginning of our efforts to really spotlight Adler and to really kind of, show these office holders that we are paying attention and we really care about this issue. This is really important. And this is a way that we can actually make a difference.
Roger, I think has a question.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, Adler is an opponent in the form of Laura Morrison, and it would be very good to get her position if they're different from that.
We are actually planning on having a candidates forum in which they will both be invited.
When?
We don't have the date yet.
Later.
It'll be later.
So I wanted to do a really quick recap of the webinar and kind of the things that Mayor de Blasio discussed in that presentation. Well, actually, it was his staff. So there were different City of New York officials, State of New York officials, and a few other experts who kind of weighed in on different parts of this webinar. They kind of they gave some background information about where New York was coming from. And not all of you might know this, but what happened with Hurricane Sandy in New York was kind of a big motivation point for their decision to divest, because they saw climate change is causing these big natural disasters and we need to do something about it. So they decided that they were going to have a comprehensive divestment or comprehensive climate change plan, and divestment was going to be one piece of that. So it's this idea of divestment not just as one topic, but as part of a larger plan.
Excuse me, is there going to be a place where you can go and watch this?
Yes. Thank you for mentioning, thank you for asking that. Yeah, they are working on editing it right now, but it will be publicly posted and we're going to share the link. I believe we can share it on Facebook.
Yeah, we can actually, I didn't want to put the link out there until it was actually there.
Yeah.
And so we're waiting till it shows up. And then believe me, we're going to let people know about it. So.
Yeah, they have slides and they have all, you can hear all the people speaking about their different areas. And from the New York perspective, they gave some arguments for institutional divestment, great talking points if you're ever asked about why Boston should divest. Cities taking a stand. That's very important. Cities protecting their citizens. It's good social policy. And fossil fuels are not actually a great investment anymore. They did a kind of deeper dive showing some graphs about ExxonMobil in particular, but fossil fuels in general are not, they're underperforming the market as a greater whole. So if you're somebody who's managing a pension fund or looking at investments, there is significant reason from an economic perspective to get out of fossil fuels. And then the argument that cities and municipalities have tried to engage with fossil fuel companies in the past about these issues, and not a lot has happened. So it's kind of like, well, we've tried to talk to you, we've tried to negotiate, but nothing's happening, so it's time to just pull our money out. So, some great talking points there, great argument. I thought they made some great arguments for divestment. And then there's kind of a deeper dive on if you're a municipality, kind of how to handle some of the more trickier questions about being a responsible pension fund holder, pension fund owner, kind of more on the economic side of things. But basically, as somebody who doesn't have an economic background, what I took from it is that you can kind of, there's alternate funds that you could maybe pick that are not fossil fuel based. And if they give you the same return for the same amount of risk, then you can kind of trade the current fossil fuel funds for non-fossil fuel funds. And again, they're going to release the webinar, so you should be able to get kind of more of the details from the actual experts when that comes out. And as New York is moving forward with their plan, they're going to divest $5 billion by 2022. So it's significant, very significant divestment. How they're going to get there, they're looking at the carbon footprint of their investments, so they're going to do a full study on that. They are going to do a report on the climate risk of their current investments, and they have joined this group of investors called Climate Action 100 Plus, which I actually hadn't heard about until this presentation, but it's a group of, I think, a lot of city government kind of associations, maybe universities, kind of larger investor groups. They have, a lot of them have pledged to move their investments away from fossil fuels. And so you can look that up. It's called, again, Climate Action 100 is the name of the group. And that's kind of the high-level summary of the webinar. Again, it's going to be out, published online, and we'll share that on our Facebook page. So you can take a look when that gets out. Yes?
Could you, do you have information on what were some of the other cities that participated? Like any other ones from Texas or?
I don't have the full list. I did see I got the list of questions, and I saw there was some people from Toronto and some people from Seattle. But I didn't see a lot of the questions, it wasn't labeled where the person was from. So I don't know the full.
Did you get a sense that there were other cities from the South at all?
No, did you hear anything about
It was actually, we were not able to see who was on the call. The way they had set it up was, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to give, because we started early. I know. I'd asked David to keep you on track,
You told me.
but we don't have to worry about it. So we're good. Thanks. But thank you, David. Thank you. No, I appreciate you doing your job. Yes. And I don't know what I was saying. I'm sure it was something incredibly important.
We don't know who the other cities are that are working
Oh,
on
right.
this.
We did not get the list of who RSVP'd. We also did not get the list of to whom all the invitations went out. We do know that 350.org groups all over the country were very actively sending their lists of people. We sent probably 25 names at least, email addresses that we could get hold of. All of our city council were invited. None of our city council attended, but Kathy Tovo's policy advisor she did RSVP so that she could get access to the webinar. As it turns out, they're going to make it public to everybody, but that was a way to get people to actually show up. Now, it was Friday afternoon, So that was a very, very difficult time and day, and there was very short lead time. And we, 350, had no control over any of that. All of that was out of the mayor's office in New York. So, but I did not see anyone from Adler's office on that, on the list of emails that I did see.
When it gets published, you'll.
Yes, we will send out information both in email and on Facebook, because we know a lot of people are not on Facebook. I myself am on it less and less these days. But we will send it out by email. On the other hand, if you're on Slack, you'll find out sooner. So, anyway.
Any other questions, comments?
Good job.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I think next we have Bobby talking about the MBDA training.
Yeah. Okay, with the nonviolent direct action training, we started a class. There's a woman named Eileen Flanagan that 350 has been partnering with to provide training for not only $350 groups, but all kinds of other groups and individuals as well. But she does a 4-week, every Monday night for 4 weeks, training class. Her name's Eileen Flanagan. She is a longtime activist, and she sits on the board of directors of Equate. And it's
Earth Quaker Action.
Thank you. I never can remember the name of it. Earth Quaker Action Team. Equate is how it's pronounced. And so she has had an incredible impact on 350 Austin. I think this is our 3rd group that is going now through the training program. And some people have found it so incredibly helpful that they're sitting through it a 2nd time. So we are now mid-May, so we've had 2 classes, and we have had for both the 1st and the 2nd weeks, we've had 13 to 14 people. We had about a dozen in our living room all watching together doing the class, and then there were people who were doing it at their own homes. We do it through Zoom. She's in Philadelphia, so it's done through Zoom. But the thing that I want to press home is that we've probably now had about 30, 35 people in 350 that by the end of this May class will have gone through the NVDA training. And I'm just going to say 1 or 2 sentences because Gil is going to answer detailed questions for people who are very, very curious about NVDA in the breakout group. But nonviolent direct action is much more than, quote, civil disobedience. All right? It's not about showing up and trying to get arrested. That's not the goal. The goal is to develop techniques and strategies that are putting constant pressure on decision makers. So who are the people who have the power to make the decisions? And you'll learn about that a bit when you go to Conti's group on Power in Austin. You find out sort of more locally. But the point is that we want to show up and do actions that get their attention, that make them uncomfortable. Just uncomfortable enough that they'll start to pay attention. They'll start noticing. One of the things that Dana didn't say about the breakfast, when 8 of us showed up in our 350 Austin t-shirts, I think actually they were a little nervous that we were going to break out and have some sort of major protest in the middle of the thing, which was not our intention at all.
We're very polite looking, by the way. Like
We were
we're
all-
very harmless looking.
And most of us put on a blazer over our
Yeah.
350 shirt so that we looked like the business people, all the people that show up at the Metropolitan Club to do their networking. But what was interesting was Dana and Ellie went up to ask the mayor some questions, as she told you. And then the rest of us joined. If you could have seen Adler's eyes when 6 more of us in our 350 Austin shirts come up to him, he was clearly looking for the exit. There was no question that he was uncomfortable. He did not want to deal with uncomfortable questions. Now, that wasn't even a nonviolent direct action. That was simply our presence. And what we did was we just greeted him and introduced ourselves to him, and saying that we were with 350 Austin and that, you know, we were hoping that we could partner with him on moving us towards mitigating against climate change. But the thing is, as he moves into the election cycle, you can be sure that we're going to be showing up, and we're going to be showing up holding signs with his own words.
Yeah.
Just as they did with Obama when he was up for re-election, and he was really pussyfooting around on KXL and all this other climate change stuff. Bill McKibben and a bunch of others, their strategy was, we're just going to show up everywhere you are, and we're just going to remind you of what you said. And this is the kind of nonviolent direct action that's putting pressure on a decision maker. Now, mayor's not the only decision maker when it comes to Austin Energy, right? Right. So this is why we're going to be working with the UC. So with nonviolent direct action, you're going to be doing direct action, putting subtle pressure on, and you're not necessarily aiming to get arrested. That's not the goal. You may end up being arrested as we up the ante, but that's not the primary goal. The opposite of nonviolent direct action is working within the system. So that's the advocacy role. And that's playing by the rules, showing up at meetings, signing up for your citizens' communications, that sort of thing. And so there's the inside strategies that we've been doing, and they haven't moved us as fast as we'd like them to move us. And then there's the outside strategies. And so we are very open to doing both. And that's, like we said, Gil will talk in detail. But we've now got about 35 people or so that have gone through that training. If you are interested, let me know, and we will let you know when the next training is going.
Do you have the records of the campaign contributions from fossil fuel from the last election?
All of that stuff is available.
Yes, I know.
Do I have it on my
It seems to me the last election, that was the only thing that moved them, is being outed as to who was funding them. Because it's not a matter of reason, it's a matter of pocketbook.
Pointing out hypocrisy is a very appropriate strategy. Okay, so I think it's time to do our breakout groups. Conti, do you want to stand up and give another blurb or two about what you're going to be doing?